We are live.
Howdy, howdy.
All right. It is good to be back.
How's everybody? How was y'all's weekend? Ours has been pretty good. We got gorgeous weather going
Yes,
on right
we
now.
do. It's beautiful outside. I am going to go over to our channel, tell people we're live.
Alrighty. I splashed all over myself.
That's all right. We're going to give it a little time for people to find out we're on because we didn't announce it. So who knew? Who knew?
You had one job.
Well, that's just neater than Skeeter's tweeter.
Yeah. All right, let's see here.
So I'm trying to, there we go. I got it. Okay, so nobody here so far, but come on in. Water's fine.
I am going to do a live real quick.
Well, there's Heartland HQ with Dink and Tank.
Hello, Dink and Tank. How are you?
Those there are probably our most loyal viewers.
That's right. We love Dink and Tank. Hey, guys, it's Tom and Randy over here on Vintage Vantage Points. Come give us a shout out, okay? We'll do call-in lives, and we are ready to rock and roll. So come see us. Vintage Vantage Points.
Dink and Tank said they shared this out. Thank y'all for
Thank
doing that.
you, Dink and Tank. We appreciate that very much.
We don't know where we'd be without y'all.
That's right. Well, we'd be listenerless. That's what we'd be.
Well, that's just neater than Skeeter's tweeter.
Oh,
What a day.
what's the weather like where you guys are? Where are you guys? You're in Oklahoma, right?
Heartland headquarters. What's your weather report?
What's your weather?
He said, "Long, whatever." I love it. All right. There's a lot of tornadoes in Arkansas.
Oh my gosh.
Oklahoma's been hit hard.
Oklahoma took a whooping.
It's unreal what people have to go through.
There's a guy that I used to watch religiously on Saturdays on the Outdoor Channel. Well, I think that was what it was called on satellite and cable, was the Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
And all these guys had these outdoor shows, and this one guy in particular that I followed pretty closely several years ago, his name is Keith Warren, and I want to say the name of his show was something simple like Keith Warren Outdoors or something. I don't remember, but he has a show now called High Road Hunting. But he put a video out on Facebook. Oh, they're in Southwest Missouri. That's right. I didn't remember that for some reason. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Keith Warren, him and his wife live in Oklahoma, and their place was right in the middle of the path of the wildfires, and they lost everything.
Oh,
He
man.
put some videos out on Facebook, and it's heartbreaking. And there's a lot of people like that through high wind damage, tornadoes,
And
wildfires.
we complain about the weather being rainy.
I know.
A little wind and rain.
There's Evelyn Newman.
Hello, Evelyn Newman. And hello, Julie. Heard that.
So, but anyway, just wanted to give a shout out and prayers to everybody and anybody in Oklahoma and Arkansas that's had to deal with the bad weather over the last few days. Man, our hearts go out to you for sure.
No joke. Hello, Angie, our cabin in the woods.
Hi, Angie.
Well, hello, two handsome gentlemen. Now, can I copy that on my phone, take a picture real quick? And if anybody says, "Man, you're ugly, Tom," I can say, no, I have a listener that thinks I'm quite the handsome gentleman. And they'll say, because you were sitting close to Randy. You survived the fires.
Angie says they survived the fires. That's good, man.
Wow.
We're glad. I hate to hear stuff like that that's going on.
Can you imagine being in your home, seeing all the smoke from afar, and then see it coming toward you? Can you imagine the fear that would put in you?
A couple of years ago, well, several years ago, we lived in a little town called Wills Point. We lived outside of town. And it's when I was truck driving, I was on the road, gone Monday through Friday. And I would get home on Fridays. Y'all, I'll run you through my routine right quick. I'd get home off the road after being gone for the whole week. First thing I do is unload the truck, get my clothes and stuff out, get my laundry started, and then go take a nice hot shower. Then after that, I would get in bed because I'd been driving all night from Montana, team truck. So we switched off. But my last shift was the 11-hour shift coming back into Texas.
Hello, Lynn, the okie dokie.
Hi, Lynn. So anyway, I would drive all night long. When I'd get home, I'd shower and go straight to bed. But before I would go to sleep, I had DVR'd. Back then, it was NYPD Blue. They played the whole seasons back to back, and I would binge watch the whole week. 2.5 hours. No, it was an hour show, so 5 hours before I could drift off to sleep, and I'd watch every single one of them. Thank God for DVRs where you can just skip through all the commercials. So.
Yeah, I missed that on the Roku. We can't really record anything.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my routine. Anyway, I said that to say this. I was laying in bed watching NYPD Blue one afternoon, and it's still daylight because we'd get in off the road about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So that afternoon, I was just fixing to turn the TV off and doze off to sleep. And I looked just out the window, it caught my eye, and I couldn't see anything. It was just gray. And I was like, what in the world? So I jumped up and I smelled smoke. So I jumped up and man, you couldn't see anything but smoke. And it just scared me to death. So I got dressed real quick, ran outside, and come to find out there was a pasture behind us. We lived on 10 acres, but the pasture behind us, it was all really flat land. It had caught on fire and it was moving through the trees towards us. So I immediately called the fire department. And then that's how the rest of my day went. Spent till about midnight that night putting out fires and keeping it from reaching our house. So that was kind of scary. But yeah, waking up to smoke and the smell of smoke is not a good feeling at all.
Well, you called me, what was it, last night or night before last, and said, have y'all looked outside? It was some kind of funk in the air.
Yeah.
What
that was all that dust from West Texas and Oklahoma.
It was bad.
It looked like we came out of Walmart, and it's about 9 o'clock, 9:30. And I mean, it just looked like a haze. You couldn't see from one end of the parking lot to the other. And it was spooky.
Johnny came over. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, so we drove home, and then when we got up the next morning, evidently it had rained too, because everything was just coated in this dirt and dust and rain. And it was terrible.
We were sanding the bedroom, the new bedroom. We were sanding the floor, and it had a little bag on it that caught all the sawdust. But Johnny got up and he went over to his car and he goes, man, y'all have really messed my car up because it's covered in stuff that you're doing in there. And Rhonda said, no, John, it's got a bag that's catching everything. Come look. He said, no, I believe you, but what's all this? And she said, well, it was mud rain. We had mud rain last night, apparently, because the only reason our cars didn't get anything but sand is they were under the carport. But his was outside the carport, and it was covered in little mud spots all over it, where it looked like it rained mud.
He blamed it on Tom.
He blamed it on me. Oh, well, that's all right. At least it wasn't me this time.
Angie says, nothing like living in the middle of 10 acres of trees in a log home, 70 mile an hour winds. Oh, I can imagine.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It was a dust storm, Lynn.
Yeah,
It was terrible.
It was one of the worst I've ever seen.
Man.
Yeah, definitely our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, everybody that got hit with it by the devastation. Wild days right now, y'all, with the weather and planes crashing and all that kind of stuff. Man, it's really makes you stop and wonder, we're going to start hearing trumpets just any day now?
Well, you never know.
I mean, I'm ready. If that's the case, I'm ready.
Did you know why the bicycle fell over, Randy?
Probably because it was too tired.
That's right. Hey, it's an old dad joke.
That's right.
What do you expect? We got to keep it clean.
We love our dad jokes.
That's right. What does that say? Keep your eyes fixed on 90 in Christ. I bet that means keep your eyes fixed in Christ. Yeah, that's probably what that means.
Absolutely right. Dink and Tank. Can't stress that enough.
Man, oh man.
If it's it is time to, if you need to, turn your life around and turn to God.
Yeah, we have so many things to be thankful for.
We absolutely do.
And what do? We concentrate on what? Any little problem.
Oh yeah.
And we make that problem big. We can't sleep at night. We worry about it. We fret over it. And
we do need moderators, Lynn.
I think you should be one, Lynn.
I think you should.
Here we go.
You just
Lynn, the
moderator.
Yourself. Watch her go. No, I didn't want to be a moderator. It says add as a moderator.
There
Lynn,
you go.
You are now a standard moderator.
You've been blue wrenched.
That's right. Welcome to our world.
Thank you for offering.
Yeah, that was what you call an Army volunteer.
That's right. Oh man. Tell you what. Hey, I found something today I thought was worth mentioning. Let me see if I can find it right quick.
And y'all can always call in if you haven't yet. Please do. 469 505 9550. And that's going to be called the old fart line. And I'm posting it right now. There you go. 469-505-9550. And chat with us. Tell us how your day's going, what weather you're like, what weather you're in is like. And let us know that your family and friends are safe, or if they're not, so that we can pray for them. My little sister has a big infection on her foot. I don't know if I should rephrase that. I don't know if it's an infection or not. It looks bad. And she's a diabetic, and she's already had one of her feet cut in half because she got a toe infection and they had to remove half of her foot.
Man.
And she's had eye surgery where they actually went in and put a gas bubble in one of her eyes to fill in space in a retina. But when she got her foot half cut off, now she's got an infection, a sore on the other foot. And I don't know, she's got home health coming over to take care of it and all that. So we'll see how that goes. But I did tell her there's good news in that. And she said, "What are you talking about? How could this be good news?" And I said, "Well, you can get pedicures half off." That's true. And she said, "I hate you, brother. I hate you." And that's okay, because I'm blood. She has to love me eventually.
Man, I tell you what, that's been the third person that I know of in the last couple of years that has had to have half of a foot amputated due to diabetes. And it can't be pleasant.
No.
And I feel for y'all. I really do.
Good evening, country boy and his paint buffer. Hello. Thanks for coming in.
I was looking at some stuff today, and this is straight out of the Washington Post.
Uh-oh.
This says aliens are real and there's a cover-up. New documentary aims to prove. So evidently there is a documentary out from the congressional hearings of 2022 and 2023. And it says the congressional hearings of 2022 and 2023 into greater government disclosure about UFO encounters were just the beginning, according to Dan Farah, director of the explosive new documentary, The Age of Disclosure,
The Age
Which
of Aquarius.
debuted at SXSW on Sunday. I'm assuming that's South by Southwest. Maybe that's a news channel. I'm unaware of it. But yeah, there's a picture in the Washington Post of Trump, Vance, and Marco Rubio. I'm guessing are head of this committee or this hearing. Pretty wild, if you ask me.
No joke. What do you call an alien who loves to dance?
Got me there. I don't know.
A moonwalker. I can't help it. Well, do you really believe in Martians and aliens?
I believe, and I'm not by any means any kind of conspiracy theorist or anything like that or UFO nut, but I believe that there, within this vast universe, I think in my mind, my little mind, that there's got to be some other form of life out there other than us. I mean, you think about that, how big the universe is. So think about just the Milky Way itself. How many planets and stars are in that cluster of the galaxy?
And see, I'm so small-minded, I think of Milky Ways, and I'm looking for the candy bar. And that's the truth right there.
But I mean, you know, what do you think? Do you think that we're alone, or?
Well, I don't know. All I know is there's aliens and Martians that people talk about, and there's also the spirit world. People talk about demons and angels and all that. And I try to keep an open mind on everything because I believe in angels. And
Sure.
I wonder, I just leave that little bit of doubt, but I wonder if there's really other forms of life somewhere in this vast universe.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm saying.
know.
I mean, we can't really think that out of all the planets in this galaxy, not to mention other galaxies, that we're the only planet with a life form on it. That's hard for me to grasp.
It's kind of like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You think, okay, well, have you ever watched those Bigfoot shows? They're always just about to see, or a shoulder, a big hairy animal goes by. And you'll watch that show for an hour waiting to see Bigfoot because the way they introduced the show, they saw Bigfoot and they've got him live on
Oh
camera.
yeah.
So you're sitting there glued to the set, and then it always ends with, well, we'll never know. We'll never be able to prove
Well,
it.
I
We
tell
don't
you,
know a thing.
I'll tell you, shows, TV shows, recordings, they've all come a long ways because, I mean, you think about all the news channels right now. They keep you glued to that television because they're constantly saying, coming up next, what do they call it? Not Fox News Alert. You know, I mean, of course you're going to be walking out of the room and hear Fox News Alert. You're going to stop, turn around, and go, okay, what's going on? You know, because of, like I said, all the plane crashes and fires and everything we've had. You want to stay informed, and you think they're going to tell you something that's just mind blowing, and that, you know, you're hearing it first there. That's just a trick to get you to sit down on your butt, don't get off that couch, and stay glued to that TV.
Trump won the election live at 5. You
I
never
mean,
know what they're going to say.
They sucker you in all kinds of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love Fox News. That's the only one I ever watch and believe in. And
What I hate are those TikTok videos that
Oh,
they'll
gosh.
start off by saying, okay, we can do whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. But one sticks in my mind. They had a blowout on the side of the road, and they didn't have a spare tire, and there wasn't any way to call because they didn't have signal with their cell phone service, and they were going to build the tire. So they took duct tape and they started wrapping it around. And then they found objects and they put that around that, and they put more duct tape on it. And I'm watching this the whole time. It was about 25 minutes. And I'm thinking, man, this crap might work. They're actually getting something that's pretty strong looking. And then they went about a block and it just went to pieces and flying everywhere. And I said, well, that's about 30 minutes I'll never get back.
30 minutes out of your life.
Wasted
You'll
my
never
life.
get back.
But I gave them viewing hours.
That's
so-
right. That's what they were after too.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
They got you.
They got me all
Hook, line,
right.
and
Has
sinker.
anybody else had that kind of thing happen to you?
I come across it all the time on Facebook and TikTok and all that stuff. You know, you see these videos and you're thinking, surely this person can't be that stupid, or you really don't think this is going to work, or whatever, you know. So, of course, you sit there and watch, and before you know it, 20 minutes have gone by and you still don't know any more than you did 20 minutes ago.
Oh gosh.
So, yeah,
So-
they get you.
What do you think about the SpaceX mission that's going on right now, rescuing the astronaut?
I saw a little bit on that yesterday. What was it? Somebody was saying that they had to wait till after the election before they could do anything. They've had the capabilities to do this all this time, but they had to wait until after the election.
After Biden wasn't in office
Yeah.
anymore. Well,
That's
I
crazy.
can imagine. I don't know anything about it, to be honest, but you just kind of have to wonder. And you think, well, think about this. If he would have been up for re-election and he would have said, yes, let's go save them, and they would have gotten up there, got the astronauts in the spaceship to come back, and then it blew up. That wouldn't make him look too good.
He would have been the bad guy in that scenario. For
And
sure.
then what?
Yeah, then it would have.
Can you imagine
whole
being in
country would have
space
turned
9
against him.
months? 9 months.
I can't imagine being in space. Period.
I can't imagine being
weightless.
in the living room.
I
9
can't.
months.
I can't imagine being weightless.
And I like being in the living room, weightless. Well, they've been waiting 9 months. Gosh, and that lady's hair, I think it grew a little bit while she was up there because it flies in the air like this, and it looks like a big wig just flying around above her head. I thought, damn, gum. Too bad they don't have astronaut barbers up there.
Man, I tell you, can you imagine though? Number one, being away from your friends and family for that long,
No.
and number two, being weightless for that long. I can't imagine how much muscle tone you would lose.
Oh, you
and
lose a
bone
lot.
density and just all that stuff. I mean, because you're weightless, you're floating around. There's nothing solid for you to stand on.
When Bush was in office,
that'd drive me
he
crazy.
had talked about going to Mars. So UTMB had a study going on, and I was in the advanced cardiac life support end of it. And we had to do all the ACLS training and all that for the flight surgeons and for the astronauts. And we did these tests on people where you had a big centrifuge, and they would, for 90 days, they would lay down with their knees up in the air and their head down.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
all. That's the only
90
position.
days.
Yeah. They had to stay like that for 90 days. And then every so often, I can't remember if it was every 2 weeks or what, they put them in this centrifuge, and it was like the ones on TV, a big long bar that, and you sit on the ends, and they just spin you. Woo,
Yeah.
woo,
Yeah.
woo, woo. And they would spin you round and round and round for so many minutes. And what that was for is to keep your fluid shifts correct, because the blood would pool because you were laying with
Oh,
your
yeah.
feet up and
Yeah.
your head down all that time, and you weren't
Wow.
exercising. They also took a muscle biopsy of their leg to see what the muscle waste was doing, so that they could find out if a person could go into space that long, go to Mars, because that's going to take a long time, and what it would do to your body. Hi, Brandy.
Hi, Brandy. Hey,
And-
Mark.
We had to practice stopping that centrifuge in full spin and going in there and doing a code in case one of them died during the test.
Wow.
Now, they didn't. Nobody ever did. But can you imagine laying with your knees up and your head down for 90 days, not moving? That would be... Rhonda thinks I do that now.
Well, after I've
But I
sat
don't.
on the couch for, say, 3 or 4 hours, I can't imagine being in one position for 90 days.
They
I
paid
don't
them good
know.
money to do that,
Still, I don't know
that study.
if I can do that. no matter what the money was. 90 days. That's,
90 days. Solar DIY hobby and review says
Yeah, that's
human
Mark.
space missions are a waste of tax dollars.
Yep.
Mark.
Mark Falloon.
No,
Grumpy Grandpa.
I didn't know that was him.
This is his.
Hello,
other channel.
Mark. I didn't know you had a different channel. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot of solar building on that. It's pretty cool.
He does a lot of
Hey,
what?
man, the guy's a genius. Solar building, solar
Oh.
panel building. He was making a trailer, like a chuck wagon trailer the last time I saw it.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Mark.
Well, I'll be. I
But,
didn't know that he had that channel. I'm gonna have to check it out. Loving me some Doge. Yeah, me too.
Country boy said, and that then getting spun, double nope.
Oh, triple nope. Because I was watching that and I was thinking, that's got to make you sick at your stomach. Because what it does, it actually causes you to vagal down. Your heart rate and your blood pressure just go boom. Initially, it goes up when they start.
Y'all
But-
say hello to Heard That.
Hey, heard that?
I gotta get milk.
She's getting in the studio.
Got milk?
Got milk? Heard that.
We keep
Heard
milk in
that.
our
Hello,
studio.
Julie. I heard that exclamation point.
Open that door on the left.
All right.
Left, other left.
But they did that, and
Hand me
then
one of those chiladas laying down.
he
third shelf
didn't
down.
win the next election, and things kind of went to the wayside with going to Mars.
Thank you.
But
This is my dream.
I'm not going to
Yep.
be the old dude that steps up and says, "Yeah, I'll do it." Send me to Mars. I want to do it.
Sorry
Nope.
about that for the interruption.
She needed milk. Gotta
I
have it.
needed another
Chilata.
adult beverage, but adult snack. Cold snacks. What's up? Justin calls them cold snacks.
I think that study is a whole lot more beneficial to the human race than trying to make rats transsexual in Siberia or wherever they were doing that.
Creating comic books with transsexuals.
Oh yeah, my uncle Bobby, he would spin me around by the feet until I threw up, and I was
Oh.
screaming and crying. And
Y'all
everything.
remember the old metal steel merry-go-rounds?
Oh
The
yeah,
big round disc with the handles coming down.
you fly off those things.
Oh my gosh, man! When I grew up, I went to Catholic schools all my life, and Catholic elementary. We had this one nun. Her name was Sister Mark. Never forget this as long as I live.
Sister Mark.
She was a big round lady. Probably I'm not going to pretend to guess her weight.
Death
she was
go
heavy.
rounds.
Heavy and short.
A deadly combination I'm
Yeah.
fully aware of.
Well, she sat down on that merry-go-round one day when we were out on recess, and she said, "Spin me." So we spun her. Oh my God! She's like, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" We had that thing was smoking. It was going so fast. But
Wow.
yeah, she said, "Oh, I'm too dizzy. Spin me the other way."
That
So
doesn't
we
work.
did.
Have you ever played that
Yeah,
game
she
where you
found
put your
that
hand
out.
on the bat and you spin round and round and round, and then you go the other way round and round, and then you try to run to the other end of the field?
Yeah.
It doesn't work too.
No, that don't work.
well.
I had to reach back quite a ways for that memory.
Oh man, we're gonna see pretty soon if they get those astronauts and get them home safely.
I hope they do.
I
God
hope
bless
they
them.
do. They could ask Russia. Russia's the only other group that would have had it, but that would have kind of been a.
They were talking about that.
Yeah,
and they
I don't think they should.
Russia should have stepped up and
Yes,
said, "Hey,
without being asked.
We'll help. We'll
But we've
do our
given
2 cents
Ukraine
worth."
so much to defend themselves against Russia. We can.
Yeah,
probably
this is
rule
going to
out.
take a while to iron out and get past. for
And if
Putin
he
and-
would have, I guarantee you, he would have made conditions.
oh yeah,
A lot of conditions
Yeah.
on it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golly.
Dinkin takes say these videos are funny.
Oh man.
What do you like best about them?
SpaceX has been involved in a lot of missions.
Man, I can't believe how they make those things, those booster rockets come in and just make a perfect landing in that.
They save so much money.
Oh my
Because
god.
that's been one of the biggest expenses is having those booster rockets blow up when they go off to the side.
Well, that and they when they go up there and they go into the different stages and they just booster them off. They just
Yeah.
eject that. That's just waste.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
he's saving so much money by just bringing that stuff back to Earth and
And
reusing
they
it.
do it so cool too. They bring it into the same place it took off, and they direct it in, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah,
If you haven't seen it, watch it next time.
yeah, it is. It's very precise. And Elon Musk, man, God bless him. Mark says, looking forward to no federal income tax. When is
Wouldn't that
that?
be something? Well,
Isn't there a weekend where there's no? Oh no, you're saying no federal income tax.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
No, I'm thinking a tax-free weekend.
I'm hoping that Trump will go to that. I really think that we're way past due on two things for people over 65. We need to never pay school tax again. We are 65. Our grandkids
Yeah.
aren't even going to school.
Yeah, I'm
So-
paying school tax for my grandkids.
That's crazy. And you can barely live on what, 900 to 1,200. What's the average guy's getting on Social Security income?
Yeah.
You can't live on that and pay school property tax. They're forcing you to work.
Yeah.
So school property tax and the federal income tax, tax and Social Security, those things really need to happen for people over 65, because if they're not going to give us any more money than that, and we've had to use a lot of our money in 401k and the different savings plans just to get us through the bad times and to remodel in the house. So that ate up most of the savings that most of us have. So how are they expecting us to make it? We have to depend on our children, and that's wrong.
Yeah,
that is
it really
wrong.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Does anybody else have an opinion on that? Share your old school perspective. Anyone making under 150,000 a year, no taxes. I say abolish the federal tax. I do too. We're paying for stuff you saw on the news, what we're paying for.
Yeah.
And we didn't approve that.
Yeah. No.
Normally, if you pay that much money to something, you have a say-so in where the money goes. We had no say-so. I wouldn't have paid for transsexual studies in another country. No way.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I don't believe
Country boy.
in changing. This is my personal beliefs. I don't believe in changing a person under 18's sexual organs. Leave them alone.
That's
Let
right.
them be adults and make their own decisions.
Exactly. Yeah,
The world
that
is-
has always blown me away about how these little bitty grade school kids, their parents are approving these sex changes.
And they won't
Well,
tell
he
the
wants to-
parents.
yeah.
They don't think the parents ought to be involved in their children. But I tell you what, if that kid goes out and steals a car and then wrecks it and kills people, the parents are involved in that crap.
Oh yeah.
But they're not going to be involved in changing their sex. Give me a break. That's ridiculous. And condoms for the Congo, Mark said?
No, that's
You know what that's for?
That's Tamara.
Tamara. Okay, I'm sorry. Condoms for the Congo, you know what that's for. Hamas was using the condoms to make explosives.
Yeah.
And we gave money to help them kill people.
We bought them, so we gave them so much money, so many millions of dollars for condoms. That
I tell you what, it's a crazy world. And when the more we find out, the angrier we get.
I'll tell you, it's scary living in these days and times. I was thinking about growing up the other day, how much simpler things were back then. You know, you'd go hunting and you'd actually, if you didn't have a place to hunt, you'd find these old ranches and farms and stuff, and you'd go knock on their door and say, "Hey, is there any work I could do for you to help you out for you to give me permission to hunt on your land?" And most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, they had work for you to do, and they would let you hunt on their land. And it just
Now
times
you
were so
can't
much
even
simpler.
ask.
Oh,
now.
no, you
They
offend
get mad.
somebody.
Yeah. No, you can't hunt out here.
Yeah.
You better not let me catch you. And you don't blame them, because look at how the kids are disrespectful. They're hitting their
Yep.
teachers. They're doing things that are just unbelievable
Yeah,
that we would never think about doing.
it's just such a different time now.
And I agree, Dink and Tank. The kids don't even think about sex change operations unless somebody plants it in there.
Exactly.
Because I know tomboys when I was growing up. I know guys that were feminine, but nobody wanted to change their sex. They just lived that way. They lived their life and they were happy. And yes, there was some bullying that was going on. And sometimes it was them bullying other people. But it just depends on the situation. Counselors and parents should be involved in that. But nobody should be talking about changing the sex of a minor.
No.
And that's my personal opinion.
And I'm in full agreement with you.
Leave those babies alone. Let them grow up.
David says spay or neuter would be cheaper than a lifetime supply of condoms.
Yeah.
That's
No
exactly right.
And
I
these
wish it was that
universities,
easy.
the universities are fixing to get their federal funding cut. When did we turn against Israel so much?
Yeah.
I'll tell you when. It's when we started letting a whole bunch of people in here that didn't love America and didn't love American values.
Yeah.
And we
Why?
let them in Congress too.
Why come here if you don't like the way of life, the way that things are done over here, the freedoms that we have here? What drew you to this country? If you don't like it, leave. Pack your bags. Go.
Go.
Nobody's forcing you to stay.
We don't want you here if you don't love America.
Exactly.
If you can't kneel for God and stand for the flag with your hand on your heart, then you don't belong in America, because one of the things that you have to attest to is your love for America and that you will honor the traditions here. I know because I helped a girl pass her test to get her citizenship. She was a nurse. Her name's Carla. I worked with her at work. On the side, we would study for her citizenship test. So I know the questions they ask, and most of the high school kids couldn't answer them.
That's right. Exactly.
They
right.
don't know the answers to those questions.
Tamara says Dink was raised by corporal punishment. So was I.
Yeah,
I was raised, she said, I was raised by the belt. ADHD went out the door. You know, ADHD, all that is a fancy name for what we used to call a hyperactive kid. Let them go out there, burn off that energy. Everything's fine. I mean, they put so many labels on everything now and got so many medications for it. It's another way Big Pharma is getting in your pocket and just keeping you there.
And then you have a kid who's doped up all the time and is not interactive.
Yep.
And you just feel sorry for them. You've seen them in the classroom setting where they just sit there and stare off. They're not bothering anybody anymore. They're quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. But what's it doing to them? We had to put Tristan on a patch for a little while because they would tell us that every day he was disrupting the class because he would finish his work before everybody else because he had a mind like a steel trap and quick as a whip. So he'd get finished for everybody else. So him being the way he was, he would disrupt the class, and by no fault of his own, just the way he's designed.
Julie said she never got a spanking. The one person who needed a spanking, and she never got one. And Angie's taking up for her, saying, I got enough for both of them.
I got my butt whipped, I guarantee you.
My mother had
did
a
wrong.
shoe that I thought Clint Eastwood let her borrow because she could hit me, and I'm not exaggerating, she could hit me from across the room. One time I mouthed off to her, and I was playing the trumpet in band. I was in there practicing, and she said, keep it down. And I said some smart aleck remark, which I knew better, but I said something about, I've got to practice. What do you want me to do? Or something. I was just hateful. Well, she came in the room and she grabbed the trumpet out of my hand and she reared it back. And now this is a big trumpet, a big golden trumpet that she paid for. And when I saw her arm go back, I remembered the days of shoes and I ran for the front door. And she threw that trumpet and she hit me in the back of the head, bent the bell up, bent it back, and I landed on the grass. And then I got up and I walked out, cleaned myself off, and I went and picked up my trumpet, and it was all bent up. And I was like, oh, man, Mom, you got to fix my trumpet. She goes, no, you got to play that trumpet in the next marching session. And she sat out there and watched me play that trumpet with the bell all bent up in the shape of the back of my head. And she had no sympathy for me at all.
Better than that, than your head being bent up in the shape of the bell.
I felt like it. Oh, man. I think it hurt my pride more than anything else. But Mom got her point across, and I didn't smart off anymore. I was in high school. I thought I had big britches. Well, not really.
Flip-flop. Angie said flip-flops and wooden spoons were the worst.
Yes.
I tell you what, my dad had a pair of leather gloves, and he would work me over with those things. I deserved every bit of it. I'm not saying, blasting him for doing it, because I deserved every single bit of it, because I wasn't a bad kid growing up, but I knew how to push the limits, and I would get away with whatever I could get away with.
We all pushed the limits.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to worry about things like child welfare taking us away
Exactly.
or anything like that, because you knew that your parents loved you and you counted on them and you needed the discipline and you knew it.
And they would also tell the neighborhood mothers whose kids you were friends with that, if he acts up, you know what to do.
That's
you
right.
have my permission.
Well, the school paddled you too.
Yeah.
The big boards with the holes drilled in them. Swap. Well, you got that at school. You don't get that anymore. And then you got home and you got it again because your parents found out that you got in trouble at school.
Yeah. We got double torture. So
Dad was multi-talented with multidisciplinary tools.
better not bring back a rotten limb. That's right. It better be fresh and green.
Grandma was the toughest one with those tree branches, though. She'd tell you to go get a switch.
Yeah. Yep.
If you brought back a
cut
little
your own
twig,
switch.
she'll hit you with the broom. So you just go ahead and get the big twig. I'd bring back a switch and she'd just tat, 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 along the bottom of my legs. Oh, gosh, that hurts.
Man.
Talk to them so
Oh,
they
yeah.
understand why. Spanking just makes them think maybe next time they'll get away with it. But if you talk to them and explain, they might think twice because they know. Well, that's true. You got to let it. You can't just.
You
beat
have to give
something.
them that opportunity. If talking to them doesn't work, there's only certain things that will work on certain kids. Talking to them might work on some kids, but the other ones, they only understand one thing, and that's a harsh punishment.
But the
only way.
most of the time, we knew why we were getting beat.
Well, yeah,
we
did.
knew why
And
because
we knew
we
we were
were
gonna get
scared
beat,
when
too.
we did it. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. You'd say most of the time, this is going to be worth the ass whooping.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Sometimes it just wasn't.
Sometimes it wasn't.
My little sister was the biggest tattletale. I was climbing out of the second story window in Vernon and on Yamparica Street. We lived in an apartment complex and I was climbing out and I was standing on the windowsill. It was 2 stories up. And I turned around to look in the house because I was getting scared and thinking I might just go back in. And there was my mother staring at me. My little sister had gone in there and said, Mom, wake up. Tommy's sneaking out. And so Mom got up out of bed and she was mad because she worked all the time. So she was hot. And she took that window and she said, closed it. And then through the window, she said, jump. Because she knew I didn't want to. I was fixing to come back in. And I said, no, I want to come back in. She said, you got out there, jump. So I jumped and she was right there and she grabbed my ear as soon as I hit the ground. She twisted my ear. She picked me up by the ear and she walked me back in the house. Don't you ever get me up in the middle of the night again, sneaking out of this house. Whew.
Yeah,
I
David
still
said-
remember that.
David's dad would say, wait till we get home, and he never forgot. No, they do not forget. We do not forget as parents.
Oh, man. Oh.
Well,
How many of you have used a dial-up phone where you turn?
how many of you had AOL dial-up service when computers first
Oh,
came
yeah,
out?
with that fax sound on. Yeah, it took forever to sign on. There's a hand. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Those were the days, man.
We went to Meacham grocery store and we used to get candy and a Coke, and it was about 25 cents. We did that every day after school.
Dave said, and a party line. Yep, I remember party lines. When I was growing up, my cousin lived out in Cedar Hill, Texas, out in the country, and they had party lines out there. And I used to think it was so much fun because late at night, we would pick the phone up. When I'd spend weekends with him, we'd pick the phone up and just listen on the party lines, listen to these people's
Oh, yeah,
conversations.
they had.
And late at night, there's some spicy conversations going
Yes, there
on.
are. Oh, my gosh, that's funny. I hadn't forgotten about party lines.
Yeah, Brandy says I have never believed in spanking, but to each his own, I guess. We all need different things. That's right.
Yeah.
Some kids, you don't need to spank them. You don't have to.
No.
My dad used to tell my teachers, hit the kid next to him. That'll wake him up.
Hit the kid next to him. Man, oh man. There is when kids start crossing the line really seriously, that's when you have to take a look at how you're disciplining, I think, because if you're not getting through to them, society will.
That's right.
You've got to save them before society takes over and they end up in juvie court, and then they go to jail until they're 18, and then they go to an adult prison.
Well,
You're saving them from that.
yeah, believe it or not, you are the biggest influence on your kid's life.
That's right.
You may not think that, and it might seem he doesn't listen to a word I say. Well,
He's listening.
I am living proof, and my son is living proof. He listened all the way through his childhood, his teenage years. He didn't necessarily do what I said, but he listened. He heard me, because all that stuff is starting to come back around now, and he understands it.
That's why he's such a good dad.
Exactly.
To
That's
Presley.
exactly right.
That's why he shows all that love and affection, because you and Julie taught him right, and it was up to him. Free will, the same way that
Absolutely.
God does. God gives us free will. He knows that we know right from wrong.
Exactly.
He gives
right.
us the free will to choose which way we're going.
Exactly right.
I had a third grade teacher that would make you lay on the desk and then whack your hand with a ruler. Ouch.
Oh man, yeah, we had nuns, and they would whack our knuckles, and they tell you, hold your hands out, and you knew what you was fixing to get. Either way, you decided palms down or palms up. It hurt either way, so you had the choice of which way to do it.
And Brandy chose not to spank.
And that's
I respect that,
I respect
because
that too.
look how the kids turned out.
yeah, they turned out great.
They turned
you
out
have
great.
to be a good parent, and you have to have an open line of communication with your kids, and able to decide what type of discipline, punishment, whatever it is, works for them. And as
And-
long as that's
and
works
it worked
them,
for her.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
both of those kids are good kids, and they're good adults. They're not kids anymore. They're adults. But what if something would have gone wrong? Now, I know it didn't because of the example at home, but what if you're in a family and they hit a teacher at school, and they're acting out, and the path for them is going to be prison or dead or drugs. You know it because it's easy to see.
Well, it's, to me, that's deeply seated in them somewhere. They're
Yes.
acting out for some type of reason. It may have happened years and years ago, and they replay it over and over in their minds, and that has influenced them.
I think
What
some kids
I
are
think-
sexually abused too. and
Yeah,
that
you're
tears them up.
absolutely right. Yeah, that destroys a child. Will destroy them for a lifetime. So you just have to be the one that decides what type of discipline you give them, and how you raise them. And if everybody would just respect every other parent's decision to raise their own kids how they see fit, this world would be a whole lot better place. I promise you.
There's some parents that are just too lax, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If the kid gets acting up in school and the teacher cannot discipline them, then they're going to say, I got my bluff in, so I'll do whatever the heck I want.
Kids are smart.
It just, I don't know, it drives me nuts. I think when you took corporal punishment and God out of the schools, we don't say prayer, we don't salute the flag, we don't say Pledge of Allegiance, and we don't allow God in schools. What do they think's going to replace it? What's going to take its place?
There's Tony with Our Cabin in the Woods. Welcome in, buddy.
Hey, Tony, how you doing? We got off on a tangent about
We sure
discipline
did.
now.
We sure did. Hey, how about we lighten things up and we do let's do a top 10. Y'all want to do that?
Top 10.
Top 10. Let's see here.
You know how Penguin glues gets his house built? He glues it together.
Igloos.
He
Igloos it
glues
together.
it together.
All right, let's do the top 10 best movies of all, or most watched movies of all time.
Most watched?
Up to this point. I don't know how far back this goes. Not real far back in our lifetime. So, okay, number 10, we're going to start out The Lion King. The Lion King was a good movie.
Yes, it was.
It was a good, well, I tell you, kids that grew up with that movie, they still refer back to it. Tristan does. He loved The Lion King. Number 9, Jurassic World. So, okay, that's one of the later movies. Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was the very first one. This is Jurassic World. It was a few movies later.
Dinosaurs are popular.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially with little kids. Little kids love dinosaurs.
Have
Presley
you seen that
loves
dinosaur
dinosaurs.
park? There's one where the dinosaurs are out in the field.
In Glenrose.
Yeah,
that's on
yeah.
the way to the ranch.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't know it existed. But there is also the Glenrose State Park where they have
That's
the
right.
dinosaur footprints in the lake, and
Footprints,
I
yep.
have seen that in the early 80s, 80,
Yeah.
82, I think.
Yeah, it's a very popular vacation destination. So if you got younger kids that are into dinosaurs, take them out there. It's in Glenrose, Texas.
It's cool.
It's a beautiful
You can
place.
camp out and fish. And
Yeah, yeah. They also have a wildlife drive-through, like a safari park. You see all kinds of animals out there. Okay, so number 8, Inside Out 2.
Not when you're chasing you.
That's a kids cartoon movie.
Inside Out?
I have not seen Inside Out, much less Inside Out 2. So we're gonna skip over that.
Inside Out. I'll have to look that up.
Number 10, 9, 8, 7 is Spider-Man No Way Home. Couldn't tell you about that. Number 6, Avengers Infinity War. And I have watched that. And whenever it's on, I'll sit and watch a little bit of it. Just mostly for the special effects and the graphics and everything. I love movies like that have a lot of technology in them and special effects. Those are my, I guess, part of my genre.
Dinkin Tank said the King of Kings is by Angel Productions. They do the Christian movie.
Oh yeah.
That'll be out April the 11th.
Oh,
It's
cool.
a new children's animated movie.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll watch it for sure. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5 is Star Wars Episode 7. I don't know which one that is. Let's see if I can. Oh, I can't because that's a screenshot. So never mind about that.
That's where
Okay, so-
Luke finds out who his father is.
Luke, I'm your father.
So number 5, I can see this. No, number 4. I'm sorry. That was number 5. Number 4, Titanic.
Titanic.
Yep, Titanic.
We never watched that, do we, Rhonda?
Oh my God, I can go in the room and she'll have that movie on again and again and again.
Well,
I said, you know
one
how
of
it
those-
ends.
Yeah, the boat sinks.
The boat sinks. And she should have let him on the piano, for goodness sakes. It was a big piano top. He could have shared it.
Yeah, they could have both got on there.
Instead,
Come
he was
on.
like,
So sad.
Jack.
Jack, how could you freeze to death and die
number-
laying in the water all night?
Number 3 is Avatar: The Way of something. I didn't get the full title, but I'm assuming that's the second Avatar movie.
Okay.
Avatars were good movies. The first one, especially. Number 2, Avengers Endgame. That was a good movie.
Yes,
I
it
watched
was. I like that.
Number 1 movie the number 1 movie out of the top 10 most watched movies,
Is
the original Avatar. So how about that was a good movie. And you're gonna have to hold the fort down for a minute.
Well, it's about time for us to go.
Okay. Well, that beer
because
went
it's
straight through me.
6:11
Oh, it sure is.
and Mama's cooking dinner for us over there.
Yeah,
They got
buddy.
the door open, and that's kind of like the street light on. When you're a kid. It's time to go.
It's time
Hey,
to come
guys.
home.
We love you guys. We appreciate
We
you
do.
coming in.
We do
really
love you.
do. And this is Tom,
I'm Randy.
and we're going to call it a night.
We
So
will
we'll
see
be back
you
next Sunday,
next Sunday.
either by recording or live.
So
We're going
keep
to
your eye
have
out
one every
for us.
week. So hang on.
Adios. Have a great week. And we will see you when we see you next week, hopefully.
And I really appreciate y'all coming in.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.